With Spider-Man 2 hype building up and its release coming closer every day, I figured I'd replay Miles Morales on PS5. And while it's not Spider-Man 2, I thought replaying it could get me more excited for the new game. So, let's go back and take a look at Miles Morales. Miles Morales is a great sequel to the game that came before it. It has a shorter but still great story with more focus on Miles' friends and family. Unlike in 2018 Spider-Man, Miles Morales tells a more deep and personal story. Instead of battling the Sinister Six and finding a way to stop Devil's Breath, this game is more focused on the struggle between Miles' superhero and regular life. Everyone knows Peter Parker's story. It's been retold many times, so much so 2018 Spider-Man doesn't even tell you, which I think for most people isn't a problem. But Miles is different. Not everyone knows about Miles' origin story since he wasn't as popular as the original. Miles Morales is more of a continuation of his beginning as Spider-Man, since we see him get bit by the spider in 2018 Spider-Man. This game is about Miles helping out the smaller community that Peter doesn't really have time to connect with. Since Miles isn't off fighting a world-ending threat, he has time to go look for a cat or help someone's truck that got stuck in the snow. And I'm gonna rant about this real quick, but this is what I love about Spider-Man in general. Not everyone can relate to Peter's struggles and the things he goes through. So, it's nice to see a different version of a similar hero. A version where people know his secret like his friend Genki and his mom Rio to help and support him. A version that keeps in touch with the locals of Harlem and gets to know everyone. It helps more people relate to different spider people since they're all different. Anyways, back to the story. Like I said before, Miles Morales features a more short and sweet story that connects Miles' personal life with his superhero persona. It gives the story a more personal feeling since you interact with both sides of this perspective. It has a lot of twists and good character motivations, like when we found out that our old friend Finn was the Tinkerer trying to explode Roxxon Plaza. After her brother Rick was killed during a Nuform experiment, she was set on bringing down Roxxon for good. While Finn was clouded by revenge, anger, and sadness, she came across as more of an anti-hero instead of a villain. You could easily sympathize with her and want to help her. She wasn't just some supervillain fueled by evil and destruction, she was a grieving sister. Of course, she did get many people hurt or possibly killed, but I don't think the player could ever come to hate her. At the end of the story, she even sacrifices herself by flying Miles all the way up in the sky to let him release the unstable Nuform energy. And I won't lie, this final cutscene was pretty heartbreaking.
It's okay. You can't just let go. Let go.
Even if Miles Morales has a much shorter campaign, it left a bigger impact on me than the first game. It was just so emotional and genuine, and I don't think I can ever forget it. Let's move on to the gameplay. The combat is really well done. You have plenty of gadgets to mess around with, along with a new Venom power. Miles has a bioelectricity power that allows him to stun enemies, absorb power from generators, and even get horizontal or vertical boosts in the air. Miles does possess less gadgets than Peter, but his ability to use electricity and turn invisible more than make up for that. It allows you to spice up combat with new abilities. But the basic combat is extremely similar to the game's predecessor. While the animations are unique, you still have things like air yanks, web pulls, and things like that. Don't get me wrong, this gameplay is extremely fun, but if you just came back from playing 2018 Spider-Man, the combat isn't exactly fresh. But that doesn't mean it's bad in any way. It's still very fun and entertaining to shoot for high combos or use your gadgets and powers creatively. Just like 2018 Spider-Man, this game has plenty of collectibles and things to unlock. You can collect things like audio samples for a track your uncle was creating, underground cache locations, and even a scavenger hunt. Along with the friendly neighborhood app that allows you to do other side quests, there's plenty of content to keep you busy. While this game does feature less suits than the first, they're still really good. Except for you. I don't want to think about you. Some of my favorite suits in the game are the Winter suit and the Into the Spider-Verse suit. Like I said, this game has less suits than the first one, but they still are really good. You can even sometimes see unique takedown moves when you equip the Bodega Cat suit, which is really cool to see. Another thing I think is really cool to see is the inclusion of BLM and LGBTQ+ support. Having BLM makes sense since Miles is black himself, but I always appreciate seeing the devs include things like this. Something else I think this game did amazingly was the soundtrack. Songs like This Is My Time and Where We Come From are so incredibly good. I'll listen to these songs when I'm driving or doing chores. While you're swinging, instead of a more graceful and heroic sounding theme in 2018 Spider-Man, Miles Morales has more of a hip-hop and upbeat tune, which I think works very well. Speaking of swinging, of course it's a thing of beauty. There are even more unique animations and tricks to pull off while you're diving and swinging around. The way he leaps off of rooftops and flips backwards into a head first— wait, never mind. Anyways, the swinging is a big upgrade since it has more tricks and animations to accompany it. This game is also an easy platinum for anyone who wants to fully complete it. Honestly, you'll unlock a good chunk of the trophies just by playing the game naturally. This game can be played on PS4 and PS4 Pro, but you really should try it on PS5. The 60 FPS, enhanced lighting and particle effects, and fast load times really show how great this game looks. If you ever pick up a PS5, I'd say this is a must-have for the console. So even if this game is shorter and features less content than the original, it is fully worth your time to play through this great Spider-Man title. Even if some people say this game feels like DLC, I don't think I could ever agree with that idea. It has enough content to make it feel like a standalone game, even if some elements are similar. Regardless, this is a fun and great game that I'd recommend to anyone. It has memorable characters, a great story, well-made music, and a lot of content. No matter what, this will always be one of the best Spider-Man games to ever release.